Hello and welcome to Stitch Fixer 3, the place to be for fun and crafty vibes. My name is Siobhan and I turn string into things. Today I thought I'd work on the sweater I showed in my last video and get it finished. I was trying to weave in all the ends before I did the hems, and I may do a little bit of that before we get started, but I decided that I wanted to just keep going with it. We'll start with the hems of the sleeves. I like to keep the sleeves wide on my sweaters. I have decreased them once on one of my sweaters, but I think I'm gonna keep it wide on this one as well. We've got about maybe 4 rows that I want to do around the sleeve before calling it good. And we have just a little bit of row edge to work into, and then the rest is just the regular stitches. So for the row edge stitches, I just did 2 stitches in the double crochet, 1 in the join, and then 2 in the other double crochet. That's 3 rows. Let's see, or three rounds. Let's see how it's looking. This is the sleeve that I have not seamed the armpit on, so I have to be careful. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that 4th round, and then after that we will see how we want to finish it. I really like doing a single crochet followed by reverse single crochet. It gives that rounded edge look, and I don't have, oh yeah, so this is an example of the reverse single crochet edge. You get these little, they almost look like picot stitches, but it's just reverse single crochet. And it works best when you work reverse single crochet in single crochet versus working it on top of like double crochet, because the double crochet, the top of a double crochet stitch is just a little bit wider than the top of a single crochet stitch, and so the reverse single crochet looks a little stretched out if you do it on top of double crochet versus doing it on top of single crochet. So let's go ahead and finish this last round on this sleeve, and then I will need to break into this and see if I want to start at white like I did with this one, or if I want to start wherever that ball starts. I do like a bit of cohesiveness with my clothes, or my patterns. Well, this isn't technical. Well, anyways, when I do my projects, I like there to be cohesiveness in the way that they look. Symmetry, that's the actual real word. I like symmetry, so I don't know if I want the two sleeves to look too different from each other, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's do this last round. This one starts. I do like to go from the center. Oh, look at that. I was ready and waiting. And it's green. Perfect. Oh, actually, what comes after this green? Yeah, brown is next. Okay. We'll see. We'll do green because I don't have that much more to go on this sleeve. This green is a lot lighter than the one that I was currently using, but that's okay. reverse single crochet edge for our sleeve. Now we will move on to this one. And let's see, we've got the ending in brown over here. And this was brown before I went into the white, which does, which does follow the pattern. We got darker green, light green, darker brown, light brown, white, and then back into the greens. Let's see how much of this green we have left. So not a whole lot. I think I simultaneously feel like it's a lot of white in this sleeve, and also feel like I don't want to break up the pattern. So I'm going to dig in this ball until I get to white, and we will work the same pattern for both sleeves. Story is that the ball that I used to finish up the sleeve over here, it was actually the center of the ball that I used to do the sleeves, because I had to, I think, finish the back or the front, and I wanted to start on the color I left off on, so I had to pull a lot of the color out of the center for that as well. The striping in this colorway is very long. I'm getting closer to white though, as my brown is now a lighter brown. I have two whole other of these cotton cakes. Okay, hello. How are you? There we go. We are finally in white. Oop, sorry, kitty. The only thing is that I do want the sleeve to end in the green, so I gotta use up some of this white. Yes, hello. We're gonna call that enough. It may not be enough. I may have wrapped too much of the white into this ball. I may not have wrapped enough, but uh-oh. Where did my center pole go? There it is. But that's okay, because we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for at least a modicum of similarity. Now, if I get through 2 rounds of white and I'm not at green yet, then we may have to frog and try again. But, oh, darn it, I dropped my hook. Kitty, can you get down, please? Please. Thank you. We'll see how it works out. I'm using a standing double crochet to start my round. Prefer that to a chain 3, although I do a chain 2 double crochet in the same stitch, because I haven't quite mastered the stacked single crochet stitch, and honestly I don't really like the way it looks, but that's probably because I'm not doing it right. I tried it a couple times in one part of this sweater. I don't know if it was the sleeves or the back. Oh, it definitely wasn't the front or back panels, because I actually regret how I kind of did these, because I did do a chain 3 at the start of the round for this, and now you can see a very defined starting round, like where the round starts is where these bigger gaps are, because there's more space between a chain 3 and the next double crochet than there is if I were to do either a stacked single crochet or a chain 2 double crochet in the same stitch. But I didn't realize that until I had done both the front and back panel, and I didn't want to redo them. I did, however, do a chain 2 double crochet in the same stitch for my sleeves, for both of the sleeves. So those don't have the big gaps in them, and I'm just going to have to live with the gap. Hopefully after a couple washes the stitches will bloom a little bit and it'll fill in, and so it won't be a big deal. We'll see. This is very much a we're along for the ride type of project. I'm not looking for perfection, just completion. I'm looking at my white yarn. I don't think I'm gonna have 2 full rounds of white, but we'll see. I'm okay with that though. 1 round is enough. I was feeling like the 2 rounds in the other sleeve was too much, so if I have just 1 round and maybe a little bit of white in this sleeve and then the rest is green, I'm okay with that. That will be okay. I have these 2 competing natures that war within me on a regular. I have the want to do and the don't want to do. And the thing that surfaces the most for me when it comes to the want to but don't want to is talking. I often don't know what I want to say, how I want to say it, whether it's the right thing to say. I struggle a lot with that. So sometimes it's just a matter of warming up to the situation, in which case eventually the don't want to will be overridden by the want to. Other times there's maybe a level of shyness or intimidation or uncertainty that's afoot that kind of holds me back. This is just my 2nd video that I'm doing, and so there is a little bit of, you know, uncertainty for sure in terms of what to talk about or how to talk about it. One thing I kind of want to use this channel for is to talk about, or I guess share my own, I guess, journey, especially with neurotypicality or lack thereof, and just belonging and psychology as a whole. I read a lot of Brene Brown's work, and I read it over and over and over again, because a lot of times, even though there's a lot of repetition throughout her series, it's still good to hear it a lot, because otherwise it doesn't really stick. I yeah, I have a hard time holding on to information sometimes, even when it interests me. So yeah, I want to kind of have, you know, a crochet and chat with me type of vibe for this channel. But I can be a little slow to warm up. So if you're willing to be patient with me and come along for the ride, I would be happy to have you here with me. Oh, look at that. Maybe I will make 2 whole rounds. And you never know. I mean, like I said, this is just the second video, and so eventually I'll probably, you know, get familiar with the process and learn what it is that I want to do with this channel and how I want to do it. One idea I had for a video that I probably will have be my next video, I was going to make it this second video, but I realized I needed my iPad. I record on my iPad. I needed my iPad, and so I was like, oh, well, I'll just record on the iPad mini that I have. But that one I have not charged for like a whole, like probably 2 or 3 weeks, and so it was dead. So I'm charging that one now, and so the next video I plan on doing like my design process, like how I go from idea to pattern. And even if it's something simple like one of these granny square sweaters, there's still a process involved in how I get it from my head to my hook. And so I thought I'd share my process. And I think it'll be enlightening for me as well, because a lot of times I just feel like I don't really have, like, I don't want to say I don't have any ideas, because I know I have ideas, but I don't know how ideas like really come to me and how they go from idea to product, and sometimes I'm just doing what other people have done, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. There's nothing special about my granny square sweaters. They're just 4 granny squares that are seamed together and then put cuffs and hems on. You know, and then, you know, the 6-day star blankets that I did, those aren't anything new. Everybody's been doing that. In fact, I'm late to the game when it comes to talking about the 6-day star blanket. It's not that it's not trending anymore, but it's definitely not as on fire as it was 6 months ago. But nonetheless, I think I'm okay with being a little slow, being a little late to the game. I'm not much of a spring chicken anymore. Like I mentioned in my previous video, did I mention? I don't know if I mentioned it or not. If I didn't mention it, I have 3 daughters. I know I mentioned that I've been I've been crocheting for 21-ish years, and I started when I was pregnant with my first daughter. So that being said, I have 2 teenage daughters and a 20-year-old. And so, you know, I'm a little older, which is fine. Being older doesn't always mean being slow. I think I'm just slow in general, mainly because of my I don't know why, I just am. And so we'll go at a pace that, you know, works for me, and hopefully that pace works for you as well. And in this world we're living in, it doesn't hurt to slow down for a little while. And I mean, crochet and knitting in and of itself are slower habits, slower hobbies to partake in. So there is no need to rush. There's no need to, oh, look at that. I did not pull enough white yarn. Oh well. Sorry. I am a little scatterbrained, and I sometimes go off on some tangents, but let's get back to what we were talking about. It's okay to slow down and step back and take your time and figure it out. And I struggle when it comes to figuring things out. I feel like I don't know how to do some things. How much more of this is it going to be? Okay. Well, I ended up having more white in this sleeve than in the other sleeve, and I don't know how I feel about that. But for now, we're just going to finish what we're doing on this sleeve. I'm going to try and finish the thought that I started. But, you know, long story short, I go at a slower pace than most people, and I'm often late to the game, and I tend to be really quick when it comes to picking things up. It really just depends on what the thing is. I guess I'm good at recognizing patterns, and once I've recognized a pattern, I can figure out how to fit into that pattern. And so that's usually how I flow. I don't like having 3 whole rounds of white. So we're going to go back, and I'm going to match it to this one. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to take that 9th stitch, actually, I'll do this. Yeah, that's how my brain works. I do not like things being vastly different from side to side. If it were close, I would have let it go, but it was not close. It was all of this yarn. I would have had to finish the whole round before the new color started, and I didn't want to do that. So we're just going to pretend like all of this yarn doesn't exist. Ta-da! That's one thing I like about the designing process, is that you really get to make it however you want. If I want less white, I can put less white in my project. If I want more green, I can put more green in my project. It really is up to you and what you want for yourself and your project. And there's no right or wrong. There might be someone that wanted more white, and so then they would have changed this sleeve so that it had more white. I didn't, and so I changed it so that it matched what I wanted. And that's okay. That is the beauty of being a maker. You know, whether that's making strings into things or, you know, other hobbies, you can make it what you want to make it, because that is the point of making, is to, you know, do it how you want to do it. Speaking of hobbies, I mentioned in my first video that I was craftural. I don't know how to say that word right, but I have a lot of tangents when it comes to my crochet, because, you know, I mentioned knitting and spinning and needle felting and some other things, but there were 2 that I forgot, and they're not related to the fiber arts, so that's probably why I forgot them. But I did mention reading and writing. But the other thing that I like to do is drawing. Now, I'm not a great drawer, but I'm okay with that. I don't need to be a great drawer. I just like the process of drawing. And I use Procreate, so I get some cheat tools in there, because I can use like the reflect tool and the radial tool to make the drawing process easier. But there are occasions where I will draw on with pen and paper or pencil and paper, and you know, by hand. Um, and it's just fun for me to do. I don't really look for it to, you know, hang in the, you know, the some whatever famous museum is out there. I just do it for myself. But the other thing I like to do is play video games and do puzzles. I really love puzzles, and I haven't done a puzzle in a really long time, or at least not a physical puzzle. I have a digital puzzle app on my phone, but one thing I do that kind of scratches that itch of puzzles is I am an indoor climber. So another hobby. I climb at a climbing gym that is local to me, well, local-ish to me, and I actually work there as well. And one of the things I do, I have many hats at this job, but one of the things I do is help put the routes on the wall. And it's just like, you know, they're called problems. The routes are called problems, and you take on the problem and you try and figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, then it becomes a project. And you work on that project until you can top it, which is getting to the very last hold in the route. And I really like that concept. I like the way that route setting works, and it really is a fun part of my job. It's one of the things I like to do. I also teach, you know, how to climb. I teach both youth and adults. And I've been doing it for the last 3 years, almost 4 years, and it's been really fun. So yeah, the whole phrase "jack of all trades but a master of none." Honestly, I don't believe that I am a master of none. I just believe I have a lot of interests, and I dabble in all of them, and I do all of them well. I mean, route setting is still new. I'm currently an apprentice route setter, and I've only been at that for the last 8-ish months. And my apprentice shift is only once a month, so there's only, you know, so much that can be done once a month, even over the course of 8 months. But I've closed the gap between when I set something on the wall, and then the more seasoned route setters, you know, look at it and they try climb it, and they see what it needs, and they make adjustments, and the gap between what I put on the wall and what the final version is has shrunk over the last 8 months, and that's exciting. I was very happy. I just set a route yesterday, and there was only like 2 or 3 changes that they made to it, from what I had put on the wall and what the final result was. And if I remember, I'll try and put a picture of the before and the after, so that I can show you what I'm talking about. But if I don't do it in this video, I might do it in the next video. We'll see. I took a picture of the before, but I don't have a picture of the after, so I'll have to add that later, or I'll have to take that picture later. I'll be at the gym tonight, so maybe I'll do it then. And I plan on scheduling this post later this week, so hopefully in editing I'll remember to throw the photos up there so you can see. But yeah, I guess I'm blessed to be able to, you know, have a job that I like to do, and that I have fun at, and then I also have time to do my crafting hobbies, because I don't you know, I have a husband that makes a decent wage, and one that allows me to not have to work. I work because I want to, not because I have to. So that's a blessing, and you know, I praise God for that. There's no other way of really looking at it for me. So yeah, I think that is 4 rounds. No, let me see. Yes. So now I got to do my single crochet round and then my reverse single crochet round, and then we'll go to the hem. May have to finish that off camera, but we'll see. I'll definitely finish the sleeves though here, and I'll be glad when the sweater is complete, because I started this one a while ago, and like I mentioned in my previous video, I put it aside so that I could work on the Valentine's Day sweater that I made, and I didn't even take any pictures of myself in that sweater. I need to do that too and add those so that I can show you what I've done and the outfit that I wore. I had on, I think, a gray long sleeve, and then I had the sweater. We went to an Indian restaurant though, and my sleeves, because they are so wide, kept almost getting in the food, so I ended up, actually no, I kept the sweater on, but I had to pull the sleeves back so that they wouldn't get in the food. Because one, I wouldn't want my sleeves in my food, but two, I wouldn't want the curry that I was eating to get on my sleeves, because then it would just it would never wash out. And I don't think I mentioned the yarn that I used for that blanket blanket. Sorry, I was looking at a project I have right here, and it is a blanket, but I didn't mention the type of yarn I used in the Valentine sweater. That was Barocco Vintage, the worsted weight, and so that one is, I think it's like 52% acrylic and 48% wool. I feel like that's right. If there's nylon in there, I don't remember, but I know it's at least a wool acrylic blend, and it's nice to work with. I've worked with it in the past, and yeah, it's a nice yarn to work with. I steamed the final pieces, so I have not washed it yet. It is machine washable, but I typically don't machine wash my sweaters just because the machine can be a little rough, and the dryer too can make the yarn very frizzy. So I tend to hand wash my projects when I can. Oh, I forgot to chain. Okay. But especially the ones that can't be washed, I definitely don't wash those. The granny cluster sweater that I showed in my previous video, that one is half superwash, half non-superwash, and so I don't wash that one in the machine. It's hand wash only. I don't remember. Yeah, it's hand wash only. So, and then I have another one that is 100% wool. I don't think it's superwash wool. I think it's just 100% wool. And so those two I hand wash. And this one I think is machine washable. Let's see. Yeah, it can be machine washed on the delicate cycle. I wash all my clothes with delicates, but yeah, I have the Karen Cotton Cakes for this project. I like this yarn though. It's a cotton acrylic blend. I think it is, let's see, 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. When I first started working with this, because this is my first time using this yarn, I thought that it was like the way the yarn was constructed, I thought it was kind of like I don't know, like if you think of like velour type yarns that are thinner, they're kind of like, you know, like pressed together really good, to where they don't split. And then when I was looking at the ends of the yarn, I was like, oh, this is a plied yarn. It's just plied very, very, very tightly. And so the yarn doesn't split, which is really good. I love that about this yarn, because if you've ever worked with cotton before, you know that cotton has a tendency to be rather splitty, but this yarn does not split, which is really nice. And that might be the acrylic component that's in it that helps it not split. But yeah, that makes it really nice to work with. I'm almost done with this sleeve. We're working in the last half of this round with the reverse single crochet, and then we'll just have the hem, and then to weave in all the ends. I did I wove in my ends as I went with my Valentine's Day sweater, and I like that process. And I was going to use that process with this sweater, but I think because of all the ends I wove in with the Valentine's Day sweater, I just got a little tired of weaving it in, so I decided to just finish the sweater, because I know if I finish the sweater, then I'll get to weaving in the ends, and so it won't be as big as a pull to want to finish the sweater first, because it'll already be finished, and so then I'll just weave in the ends, although that process can still take a while. I have another granny square sweater where it was a bunch of different granny squares that I seamed together to make into a sweater, and that sweater still has ends not woven in, and I finished that one last summer. It is a short sleeve sweater, and so it's good for the summer, and I've worn it several times even though all those ends weren't woven in, because sometimes I don't mind weaving in ends, but most of the time I actually don't like weaving in ends. I kind of waffle back and forth between the two camps of, you know, finding catharsis with it and hating its very existence. And so most of the time I'm in the hating its very existence, and I do my very most to try and minimize the number of ends I have to weave in. But with sweaters, it's kind of hard to avoid having more, or having less than about 8 to 12 ends to weave in. It's really hard to have less than that, just because, you know, just the seaming process, and then the start and the stop of, you know, if you're doing a square, or even if you're doing back and forth rounds, if you run out of the yarn, you have to attach a new ball. Those are all, you know, valid reasons why you'd have to have ends to weave in. And this one has no shortage of ends to weave in. I have woven in some though, like this square here, I believe is completely woven in. This is the seaming string, so that doesn't count. And I believe I wove in the ends to, nope, never mind, that's not woven in. Did I weave in the ends to my sleeves? Nope, I just did the one square on the back here. This one has no ends, but the rest of them do, except for the center of this one. Looks like I got the center of this one, but there's still other ends that need to be woven in. Anyways, I think I'm gonna stop here, and I will do the hem later, and then I will just have some follow-up photos to show you the finished result once I am done. But we got both sleeves done with the reverse single crochet stitch on them, and we have pretty much some identical striping here, which I love. It makes me happy. All right, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. So I finished my sweater, finally. I have been really dragging my feet on this. The squares worked up quickly, the seaming was quickly. I did the bottom edges for the sleeves and the waist, and I just finished the collar today. The thing that held me off was I had about 1,000,000 ends to weave in on the inside, mostly in the seaming area. And you know, just where I ran out of one ball and had to attach a new one. And sometimes weaving in ends can be cathartic, sometimes it is the bane of my existence. And with this project, it was the bane of my existence. So let's see how it fits. And truth be told, I have some ends that I still need to weave in, but I just wanted to finish and call it done. And this is how it's fitting. I really like the construction of these sweaters. I like the open sleeves. I like the drop shoulder. I have not blocked this yet, so it is a little stiff. And the only other thing that I don't love about this sweater is that I did a chain 3 here and then used that to count as a double crochet. And so that left eyelets that are similar to the diagonals. But I'm like, what can you do? I didn't do that on the sleeves, so they are more closed than the sides, the front and back panels. I could have fixed it, but I didn't want to. I want it to be done, and so this is what we've got. It's really nice. This is Karen cotton cakes, and so it is a cotton acrylic blend. I think I'm going to steam it in order to block it, and that'll help give it a little bit more drape. And yeah, this is the outfit. Just a pair of jeans and a tank to go under it. Let me know what you think. Thank you. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.